All right. So um, you sent over some really fascinating stuff about this new AI tool. It's called WorldCastGPT. And it seems to be making some serious waves, especially I've noticed with history buffs, educators, and, well, podcasters like yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely caught my eye as well. I mean, the whole idea of AI and history coming together like this, especially for storytelling, I
Yeah.
think it's got a lot of potential.
Mm.
And, of course, with any new technology, there will be challenges. But, yeah, I'm intrigued.
From what I've been looking at, it really seems like WorldCastGPT is designed to be this all-in-one tool,
Yeah.
for creating really immersive and accurate historical content.
Yeah.
Almost like you've got a historian, a scriptwriter,
Yeah.
and a producer all kind of rolled into one.
Right, right. And that in itself is a huge shift. I mean,
Mhm.
just think about how much time and effort and resources really go into creating, really good quality historical content.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I can see why people are excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, based on these sources, it looks like WorldCastGPT can help you with some pretty big stuff,
Mm.
like crafting really detailed episode outlines,
Mm.
suggesting potential guests or experts that you could interview,
Okay.
and even, get this, generating like rich soundscapes
Yeah.
to, really transport your listener.
Oh, wow. The soundscapes. That is really interesting
Yeah.
because you think about it, it's one thing to, talk about something like the Silk Road,
Right.
but imagine being able to really immerse your listeners in the sounds of like a bustling marketplace.
Yeah.
The camel caravans passing by.
Oh, wow.
That kind of sensory detail, it really can bring history to life in a whole different way.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's just one example. I mean, the sources talk about how educators are using it too
Mm-hmm.
to create much more, I guess you could say, dynamic lesson plans,
Oh, interesting.
right? Instead of just relying on textbooks.
Yeah.
They can use WorldCastGPT to like pull in primary sources,
Right.
suggest interactive activities, even generate quizzes
Huh.
or discussion prompts and things like that.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, think about it from the perspective of a podcaster, too.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of time that it takes to research and outline and produce just one episode.
Right?
It's a lot, So if this could help streamline that process, that would free up so much time for creators to really focus on, the heart of it, the storytelling itself.
And it seems like it's not just about saving time either.
Right.
I mean, from what I'm reading, WorldCastGPT can actually help improve the quality of the content too.
Interesting. How so?
Well, it can, like, analyze historical data
Hmm.
to uncover interesting connections, or even suggest, like, alternative viewpoints
Uh,
that you might not have considered.
wow. That's really powerful. I mean, that's what excites me the most about this kind of technology. It's not just about automating things. It's about giving creators new tools and new insights, really, to tell more compelling and nuanced stories.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is it's not just for, seasoned professionals.
Right.
The sources even mention how history enthusiasts, people like you and me,
Yeah.
can use WorldCastGPT to kind of dive deeper into their own research
Hmm.
and maybe even create their own content.
I hadn't even thought about that. That's amazing. I mean, think about it. You could have like a passion for, let's say, medieval history,
Mhm.
and you could use this tool to help structure a whole podcast series.
Wow.
Find experts to interview, even create like sound effects
Oh, yeah.
of a medieval village or a jousting tournament or something.
That is so cool. I love that idea.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
That's what I love about this whole thing. It's like,
Hmm.
it's lowering the barrier to entry for anyone who, wants to share their love of history with the world. It's
Yeah.
really democratizing historical storytelling
Mm.
in a way that we haven't really seen before.
It is, yeah. And I think it has the potential to like really shake things up because, historically, access to the tools and the resources needed to create, high quality historical content has been pretty limited, to
Yeah.
certain institutions,
Yeah.
professionals.
Absolutely.
So this could really change things.
But, isn't there a concern that something like this could actually end up replacing human historians
Mhm.
or storytellers altogether? I mean, it's powerful stuff,
Yeah, no, that's a valid concern. It's something we definitely need to be aware of. But, I think WorldCastGPT is more about empowerment than replacement.
Okay.
It's about giving historians and storytellers new ways to, I guess you could say, amplify their voices, to reach wider audiences,
Mm-hmm.
to make history even more accessible and engaging.
So it's more about like collaboration
Yeah.
than competition, right?
Yeah, exactly. Think of it like a partnership
Okay.
where each side brings its own strengths.
Right.
Humans bring creativity,
Yeah.
critical thinking, the ability to connect with an audience
Yeah.
on an emotional level. And then AI brings the ability to, process huge amounts of data, to identify patterns and connections, and to maybe suggest new avenues to explore.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's almost like having a research assistant that never sleeps and has access to every library in the world.
Right, exactly. And who can whip up a medieval battle soundscape on demand?
Oh, okay. Well, that part is pretty awesome.
It is. But yeah, it's important to remember that, while AI can be a powerful tool, it's still just that, a tool.
Right.
The responsibility for accuracy and context and ethical storytelling,
Yeah.
that still rests with us, with the humans.
Right. That's a great point. So we've got this amazing tool that can help us do pretty much everything, from crafting these compelling narratives to finding the right guests to even creating immersive soundscapes.
Yeah.
Where do we even begin to unpack all of this?
Well, I think a good place to start is to look at how it's actually being used right now, by different groups.
Mm-hmm.
The sources you sent mention some pretty interesting case studies, particularly in education and podcasting.
Okay. Yeah. Let's jump into those. I'm really curious to see how this is actually playing out in the real world.
And one of the things that I think is really cool is how this tool can actually tailor the content to different learning styles and attention spans,
Oh, wow.
which for educators, that's huge.
Yeah.
Imagine kids learning about ancient Egypt, but not just, by reading about pharaohs and pyramids,
Right.
but by virtually exploring a 3D model of the Great Pyramid generated by the AI.
Oh, wow.
Or hearing the sounds of a bustling marketplace.
Wow.
Or even, role-playing as an ancient scribe. All things that WorldCastGPT can, provide.
That's a far cry from the history textbooks I remember.
I know, right?
It seems like it's not just about, making information available. It's about making it compelling.
Exactly. And that's so important, especially, if you're trying to engage younger generations who've grown up with, interactive media and all of that. So, WorldCastGPT can suggest things like incorporating, interactive elements, quizzes, even little animated segments, things like that.
Right.
To just kind of, keep things engaging and cater to those, shorter attention spans that we see sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. The sources actually mentioned an example about a podcaster who used WorldCastGPT to create an episode on the sinking of the Titanic.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently the AI, suggested weaving in survivor testimonies.
Wow.
Sound effects of the ship breaking apart, even period-appropriate music
Oh, wow.
to really set the scene,
Yeah, I remember reading about that. And I think the creator was, initially a little hesitant.
Yeah.
Using AI, but they were just blown away by how much it actually enhanced the emotional impact of the story.
Yeah.
So it really, by incorporating those elements, it really brought the event to life.
Yeah.
In a way that traditional storytelling, I think, just couldn't.
Yeah, it seems like WorldCastGPT is really good at helping creators find those hidden gems.
Right.
That really elevate a historical narrative, like those little details or connections that you might have missed otherwise.
Absolutely. And for podcasters, that is game changer. Just think about all the research that goes into, a typical episode.
Right.
Sifting through archives, tracking down primary sources, identifying the right experts, all of that.
Right.
So if WorldCastGPT can expedite that process, that frees up so much time for podcasters to really focus on, the creative side of things.
It really does. It's almost like having a tireless research assistant.
Right.
And brainstorming partner, all rolled into one.
Exactly. Yeah. It frees up a lot of mental bandwidth.
It does. It does. And, it's not just about efficiency.
Right.
Although that's certainly a bonus. It is, yeah.
But it's about accessibility, too.
That's huge.
Historically producing high-quality historical content required, significant time, resources,
yes,
and often, specialized knowledge.
You're totally right. You practically needed a degree in archival research just to get started.
Yeah, exactly.
But with, WorldCastGPT, the barriers to entry are lowered. So now, anyone with a passion for history, whether they're a seasoned podcaster or, an educator, or just an enthusiastic, amateur,
Right.
has the potential to create really compelling content.
It's amazing, yeah. It's like opening up a whole new world of possibilities
Right.
for, anyone who wants to share their love of history.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
It's not just making it easier to tell these stories,
Yeah.
but it's empowering more people to tell them,
Right.
to share their perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
and to connect with audiences in new and really meaningful ways.
It really does democratize the process, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. It puts the tools for creating these, dynamic, immersive experiences in the hands of, like, anyone
Right.
with a story to tell.
Exactly. And that has the potential to completely transform, the landscape of historical storytelling. I mean, just imagine a world where anyone, regardless of, their background or their resources,
Mhm.
can create museum quality exhibits,
Yeah.
captivating podcasts,
Yeah.
even interactive historical games and things like that.
That is a powerful thought. But, isn't there a risk that relying on AI could lead to like a homogenization of historical narratives?
That's a great point. That's a really important point.
Right. What about like ensuring diversity of thought and interpretation?
Yeah, that's crucial. And, while AI can be incredibly helpful in, gathering information, processing it,
Mm-hmm.
we have to remember that it's still just a tool, right?
Right.
So the responsibility to make sure we're getting a balanced perspective and a nuanced perspective, ultimately, that still lies with the human creators.
Okay, so it's not about like blindly accepting the AI suggestions. Right. It's about using them as a starting point
Exactly.
for critical analysis
Yeah.
and thoughtful interpretation.
Yeah, think of it as a collaborative process.
Okay.
It's a conversation between human and machine, where each side is, informing and challenging the other.
I like that. That's a great way to put it. So we've seen how WorldCastGPT can help with, streamlining research, enhancing storytelling, even, just broadening access to content creation.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the practical side of things? Like how user-friendly is this technology?
Yeah, well, from what I've gathered, it's designed to be incredibly intuitive, even for people who aren't like super tech savvy.
Okay.
Basically, you can just, input your topic or idea, and the AI will kind of like guide you through the process step by step, and it will offer suggestions and resources along the way.
Wow, that sounds pretty straightforward. Almost too good to be true.
Yeah.
But, this really does seem like it has the potential to be a game changer,
It does.
especially for, those of us who are passionate about sharing history.
Absolutely. And, as with any powerful tool, it's important to, approach it thoughtfully.
Right.
To consider, both its immense potential and its limitations.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, for everyone listening out there, whether you're a seasoned podcaster, an educator, or just someone who, loves history,
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage you to explore WorldCastGPT and just kind of see what it can do for you.
Yeah. And as you, embark on that exploration,
Right.
keep in mind that this is just the beginning, right?
Hmm.
So as AI continues to evolve, we can expect to see even more, exciting and innovative tools emerging that will further transform the way that we learn, experience, and share history with the world.
Yeah, it really is a fascinating time to be alive.
It is.
Okay, well, let's shift gears a bit and delve into some specific examples
Okay.
of how WorldCastGPT is being used in real-world applications.
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful to start by, looking at how educators are incorporating this AI into their lesson plans, because there are some like truly innovative approaches emerging, especially in the realm of personalized learning experiences.
Personalized learning experiences. What does that actually look like in practice?
So imagine a classroom where each student, has their own learning experience kind of tailored to them, to their interests, their pace,
Okay.
all with the help of WorldCastGPT. So you could have one student, right, who's fascinated by, let's say, military history.
Mm-hmm.
They could really delve deep into the strategies of, I don't know, like a particular battle.
Right.
And they'd have, AI-generated maps, 3D models, all that.
Wow.
And then you could have another student in the same class who's more drawn to like social history, and they could explore, I don't know, the lives of ordinary people during that time.
Right.
Maybe even craft a narrative from their perspective with the AI's help.
It's almost like choose your own adventure, but for like the whole history curriculum.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just, making it individual. WorldCastGPT can also suggest like collaborative
Oh,
projects
interesting.
where students with different interests work together,
Okay.
each one bringing their own thing, their own perspective. So, like, let's say a group of students could create a podcast episode
Right.
about a historical event, but it's AI enhanced,
Right.
They're weaving in their research, primary sources,
Yeah.
maybe even some dramatic reenactments.
So it's really about like fostering a more engaging and collaborative learning environment.
Exactly. Yeah. And it can help address, I think, one of the biggest challenges that educators face, which is just, keeping students motivated,
Right.
engaged, especially in a world with so many distractions.
Absolutely.
So by tapping into, individual interests and making history feel more relevant, more immersive, WorldCastGPT can actually help spark a real love of learning.
I love that. It's not just about, making history more accessible. It's about making it more meaningful.
Yes, exactly.
Relatable.
And that's something that I think really resonates, not just in the classroom, but also in podcasting.
Right.
So think about how WorldCastGPT could help podcasters really connect with their audience on a deeper level.
Yeah. We talked earlier about like AI-generated soundscapes for creating a more immersive experience. But it seems like it goes way beyond just sound.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine a podcast episode where you've got like interactive elements.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, polls, quizzes, where listeners can actually engage with the content.
Wow.
In real time, Or maybe the AI identifies like key points in the story where it's like, okay, this is a good place to get some listener feedback, to make the storytelling more dynamic, more collaborative.
That's fascinating. It's like you're blurring the lines between like the creator and the audience.
Yeah.
Making history feel more like a shared exploration.
Exactly. And that sense of shared exploration, it's something that WorldCastGPT can bring to history enthusiasts too.
Right.
Imagine like using the AI to delve into, a specific historical event or figure, and you're uncovering, these little known facts, these connections that you might not have found otherwise.
It's like going down a rabbit hole of like historical research.
Yeah.
But you have this guy who knows exactly which sources to pull and what connections to highlight, like a personal history tutor almost.
Exactly. And it's not just about, acquiring that knowledge. It's about taking that knowledge and turning it into something engaging, shareable. So WorldCastGPT can help you structure your research, suggest multimedia elements, even connect you with other enthusiasts who, share your interests.
So it's really about like building a community around this, right?
Yeah.
A community of, learners, storytellers.
Yeah.
Who are all passionate about bringing the past to life.
It really is. And that's, I think, a really powerful vision for the future of history. A future where anyone, regardless of their background, their resources, can contribute to our understanding of the past, sharing their perspective, engaging in this, like, global conversation about the events, the individuals that have shaped our world.
It's exciting. And a little daunting, I have to admit.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like any powerful technology, right? There are going to be challenges, ethical things to consider.
For sure.
But the potential it's undeniable.
It really is. And as we move forward, I think it's really important to have these conversations,
Yeah.
About the role of AI in history.
Right.
Making sure that it's used responsibly, ethically, to enrich our understanding of the past, not to replace it,
Absolutely. Well, this deep dive into WorldCastGPT has been incredible, really eye-opening. It's amazing to see how technology can be used to make history, I guess, more accessible, more engaging, more relevant to a wider audience.
It really has been fascinating. And it makes you wonder, what other possibilities are out there? As AI continues to evolve, what other ways will we be able to connect with the past, learn from it, share its stories with the world?
It's a great question. And as we wrap up, I just want to encourage everyone listening to keep exploring. Keep asking those questions. Keep imagining those possibilities. Because when it comes to history and technology, the only limit really is our imagination.